All right, I think physics is done for the day. Moving on to art. So, got a couple wild ones we're going to string for you, or at least work on. First bit of advice with the armor mesh. Just relax. Take a deep breath. You'll be good. Top string, just like, let me move y'all a little bit closer. Top string, just like you would anyone. You don't even necessarily have to. There's ways around not hitting all the 7 top holes, but as I've said before, there's a million ways to string sticks. So I've been so happy to just be able to finally get this out here, and knowing that there's so many great stringers that can do some wild things, and I've been able to witness it, and I'm impressed, not surprised at all. So there are many different ways you can go about this. I believe that this is a very, it can become simple and very effective way. It's don't overthink it. I'm using very simple interlocks, and once you get the hang of it, once you train your eyes, then you're golden. So with this one, this is a ECD DNA, and it's actually, I think, so it's for Relax Collections. I think it's going up for a giveaway of some sort. So check it out. All right, I'm going in this second top hole. This is my loop start. Can you all see? This is my loop start. So I'm coming in from the outside, came up through here, going back in that sidewall hole. And I'm also coming back out here. You're done. You're not trying to say it. All right, so you got your loop. So this counts as touching your first top string hole. Got a lot of holes up here. You don't really have to use them. Just a basic first interlock. That one's touched, this one's touched, and I'm splitting those. All right, to finish the loop start, you just try to loop step, I guess. Just try to mimic what you did on this side. So I'm coming in through there, coming out channel. So I start with a double knot over here to make another double knot. Just make your simple knot, double it up. I always hold this area of the knot so that when you pull it, it's there. All right, got your top string, 7 across, 1 here, 1 there. So we are going to kind of mimic the pattern we just did on this. This is a Mirage 2.0, or no, excuse me. No, this is an Optic 3. And I started on the second one, the third hole down, third head, oh, the third sidewall hole, I interlocked with the second mesh hole. And then I just jumped one mesh hole the whole entire way down while grabbing every sidewall hole right here. So I'm gonna start with that and see how it goes. My most basic of interlocks, coming down from the top hole. What I do is I come in, but then I come out that first mesh hole. So it's coming down flush. And I'll start right here and I'll do the same thing. So in, that's what I did. Got it out here. In to the outside of the sidewall. And then up through that second hole in the mesh. And coming back out. So you just have that very simple interlock. One thing I do when I'm stringing armor mesh, especially if I don't know the exact pattern that I would like, is I do not do one sidewall the whole entire way down and then go back. I do a couple rows at a time, or a couple interlocks at a time, and check it out, see what I think. Also, one big thing is these simple interlocks I do from this side, coming in through the outside of the sidewall. And I'm going, this first interlock is going through the second. So I gotta grab that second one. Pull it. The reason I do such simple interlocks, for a few reasons. I think they do the job, you know. They do it well. But oftentimes you're gonna find yourself be like, I want to change this up, you know. Like I want to adjust it. I want to go back. I got a buddy just strung up this great. This is the Mirage 2.0. Did a great job. You know, the thing's great. I pounded it out. Has a nice channeling effect. He did some yankage here. But they're anchor knots, which is fantastic. Cool. But if I have to go back and restring it because I want a little more whip, less whip, pocket a little higher, a little lower, then it's a pain in the neck to get out. So if you're working with something that you are not that familiar with, such as armor mesh, because I'm still figuring out every head shape and different ramps and how many sidewall holes and a million amounts of heads, as well as how everybody has their own preference for how they would like it. I would say simple is better, because you don't want to be fighting with anchor knots for hours. Let's just be a quick in and out. So one thing I'm gonna do is I might give this a yank, maybe right here. So I'm gonna skip a sidewall hole, but still only skip one mesh hole. So that was, all right, so if I started on the top and on the third sidewall hole is where I had my first interlock into the second mesh hole. I'm coming down and I got my sixth interlock on my sixth hole. On the seventh hole, I jumped it and only skipped one mesh hole. just to give it a little bit more of a pull down, maybe a quicker ramp, less gradual of a ramp. So I'll do the same thing over here. Right there. I'm gonna check my work. It's also very smart too. All right, I'm down here 2-3 rows. All right, well, did I do it all right? If I just run my finger across this horizontal chord and I see that my interlock matches up, then you're good. It's better to do that earlier than later, because sometimes you can do that when you're down at the bottom and it's a little late. All right, so I did that yank. Now I'm back to just jumping one. Now that I know I'm just going to jump ones for a good bit of the way down there, I'm a little more comfortable doing a few interlocks on each side. You're starting to get to where you can start to see a pocket. One thing I do is I'll hold both of the sidewall strings that I'm working with as well as the tail and be able to kind of get an idea of what I'm working with, where my pocket shape is. You know, it's still going to pound out some more, but it just helps you out a little bit. So right there, we're getting towards the bottom. I think for the heck of it, I'm going to jump 2 and see what happens. So I am, let's see, 7 up from the bottom, and I am jumping 2. We go back to 1. Normally I'm not doing it this quickly. Even this one, like I might be doing it with a little bit of confidence, but there's a great chance that I'll go back after this and pound it out, try it out. So, you know, I'm gonna change it up a little bit. So that's, I mean, there's so much of this is a trial and error. This is a new beast. There's a million ways to do it. This is what I find to be a very efficient way and effective way. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right there. Let me do a couple more. Running out of sidewall holes. No surprise. All right, so for that last one, I pretty much just skipped one mesh hole, came through it and out. And what I'll do is just a weave finish on the bottom. I got your armor mesh. Pound it real quick. Passes the apple test, but I'll find a ball. So that is, it's your DNA. This is yeah, the optic, so just jumping ones. This is a Havoc, which is almost like a, the more I look at it, it's almost like a defensive hybrid, especially compared to this monster. But doing it a little differently. As you can see, the has a more aggressive ramp right here, as well as the face of the head being wider. So you kind of have to keep in mind where the head flares, the width of it, how much material you're going to be needing. If you're jumping more than one hole, that's adding more material. So we can enlarge the pocket. With this one, I came down and I jumped ones. I started, my first interlock, sidewall interlock, was the second sidewall hole connecting to the third mesh hole, and I jumped twos until I hit after the fifth interlock down. I jumped two, and then I went back to one. I just jumped two there because it was still wide out here, and it was before this ramp really came down. So it was really wide, it was before it came down, and then I went back to one. I just skipped one, the next one, and now I'm going to go back and skip two. And again, there's a good chance that I'm going to go back and do this again. Like, this is the first time I've strung a Havoc with Pegasus, and I want it to be awesome. So I'm going to string it up. I'm going to try it out, and thankfully you're always able to go back and adjust it. But it's a matter of patience and figuring out how the head works with the pocket, all the different holes, the head shapes, and the personal preference. So this one I'm going for a high to mid pocket, and I think that normally if I were to jump two, I would immediately go back to one, jumping one before I did a two, but it's kind of just what I thought may work, and we're gonna find out. Skipped another one there. All right, I'll play with that a little later. For my bottom string, I just do a weave. So I got, we'll see, coming up through the bottom here, and coming up through that. That's an X hole. That's an X hole. All right, so jumping two, one of these teardrops, if you will. Came up, back down, up again, and I'm going over top of these two teardrops. Back up, and out again. And what I find on the opposite side is a track joint. That's a track joint. Up through the outside hole, down through the middle, lock her off, Rastafari. He's a monster. Crazy hole, but it's pretty wild how that's gonna throw smooth. Shockingly smooth. Yeah, I think that's about it. Let's try to go live sometime soon. Thank you for your patience, and happy I was able to get a little bit more of a tutorial out there. Let me know any more questions, or if you want me to cover some more armor mesh wildness. And yeah, next time we're going a little more casual. All right, cool. Yeah, have a good one. Armor up, and talk to you soon. Peace.